everyone, and welcome to another high-elo game of Age of Empires. Today we're going to find out if Mr. Yo can beat the curse of the Vikings, as he, playing as the Burgundians in red, prepares to take on Hera, playing as the said Vikings in blue. Now while the players herd their herdables, explore their immediate surroundings, and try to get their butts up to Castle Age ASAP, why don't we take a look at the Civ matchup that we are going to be watching today, right as the computer game glitches out and right as the scouts head into each other's bases. Now, the Burgundians are an oddball, coked-out civilization with some of the craziest features in the entire game. To start with, they do focus on cavalry, being the only civ in the game with access to cavaliers in the Castle Age, and their unique unit, the Coustelier, is a medium cavalry shock unit that has a massive plus 20 or 25 charge attack. Now, if the situation is dire, or you just kind of want to mess around, have some fun, well, the Burgundians can conscript their entire civilian population by turning each and every villager into their second unique unit, the cavalry-killing Flemish militiaman. Economically, Burgundian stable techs are cheaper. Their relics generate food in addition to gold. They get all economic upgrades and age earlier, and by the way, at a discount. And their farmers can be introduced to the wonders of capitalism by upgrading them to generate a small amount of gold while they till their fields. Taking a look at Hera, the Vikings, we saw them recently at a powerful infantry civilization. Starting in Feudal, their infantry units come with 20% more HP and can be upgraded to get a decent attack bonus against cavalry and also generate gold while they kill enemy villagers, monks, and trade units. Two potentially very viable, applicable even features that we may end up seeing. Sorry, I got a little lost in the sauce here, as it looks like Hera, our Viking, takes the first kill and draws first blood. Might even get another unit here if these villagers aren't careful. Will he chase in? Will he risk it? It looks like he is. Loses a spearman for the trouble, but does get a villager, and on the escape loses his own scout as well. 2 kills apiece at the moment. As I was mentioning, they can be upgraded, their infantry, to get a bonus against cavalry and generate gold while killing enemy villagers, monks, and trade units. Both of these features definitely help with their unique unit, the Viking Berserker, a durable, strong infantry unit whose health automatically regenerates. Now, to support their infantry, the Vikings can also upgrade their archer line units if any of them remain living long enough to get a +1 attack boost. And economically, their economy hits the ground running in the castle and in feudal ages because they get both the wheelbarrow and the handcart upgrade for free. You'll see that that box is already checked off at the top right side of your screen. At the top left, no wheelbarrow yet for our Burgundian. So a bit of a duel of economies, a duel of cool civilizations, and quite frankly, a duel happening on a pretty damn cool map. It's been a while since we've seen River Divide, at least since I've seen River Divide, and it's not too hard to figure out why it's called this. Everyone starts on the left, the right, top or bottom, whatever it is. Opposite each other, there are 2 rivers dividing the main battlefield, bow tie shaped battlefield, from these 2 kind of expansion areas that are very rich in resources: relics, wood, gold, stone, and even a bit of food. And there are 2 of them. We'll see whether or not the players decide to take these, whether or not the players decide to make use of them at all. And also, interestingly, everyone starts with a transport ship. I've posited before that I think it's multi-purposed. The reason you get a transport ship, what the hell's it doing on the land? I thought we got rid of all these weird little glitches. This might just be a graphics thing, but it seems like Hera has, what's the word when you run aground your ship? Not portaging. I think portaging is when you transport it over ground. This is just, I forget what the exact word is. Man, my nautical terms are not where they really should be. It serves dual purpose. You can run behind enemy lines. For example, look at Mr. Yo's base right now. Man, oh man, has he walled himself in Howard Hughes style. The left side is very safe, but the right side can be used to drop off enemy units. If Hera's transport wasn't to the South River, if it was in the North River, maybe. But now Mr. Yo, okay, 2 spearmen. So he's going exploring right now. Spearmen with not terrible line of sight, and now his transport runs aground as well. Is it on follow command, or did you just highlight these 2 units and click them to the same location? Doesn't really matter. Kill count stands at a 6-5. It looks like Hera has killed 2 villagers to none. And so he is logically, therefore, ahead 3 villagers. Not too much of a lead at the moment as they both head up to the next stage. Hera is about 30 seconds away, so we'll hit it about a minute and a half ahead of his opponent. Army counts are pretty similar, although I would say Mr. Yo's army being a bit more counter in nature. Skirmishers to archers, spearmen to scouts. And now Hera's doing the same thing. He's exploring the island to the south. Mr. Yo's exploring the island to the north. And as I mentioned, actually, let's take a look at those resources as Hera moves forward with a Huang-style forward siege workshop. So a little bit more than your average stone, Arabia stone, about 10,000 or so, maybe 8,000 more gold compared to Arabia. And then a decent amount of food, a lot of wood. So a bit of a hybrid map. And as my intro referenced the Mr. Yo ACCM game, where holy moly, if you haven't seen that game from a few days ago, plug up your ears, because I'm going to do some big spoilers, or rather a single big spoiler. And if you haven't seen it, you have to see it. It is just an absolute fantastic game. ACCM playing as the Vikings, pretty much ragdolling Mr. Yo in that game. I mean, there's no other way to say it. ACCM just playing the Vikings to chef's kiss perfection level on a hybrid map. And so now that I've said that, you should definitely check the game out. Okay, the siege has begun. Hera's going to move in with his mobile army while his more static, slower, building, destroying army stays outside in the cold and just shells away at infrastructure. Okay, maybe not. Maybe both of them are going to hang outside. He doesn't really know what he's up against here, does he? Where was that one spearman going? Life imitates art, as the dead spearman sprawls in the exact same position as this one skeleton here on the map. Looks like Hera was basically just waiting for reinforcements. More powerful reinforcements, more crossbows for our Viking, even though they're a foot archer. Sorry, a foot archer. Even though they are an infantry civilization, their foot archer line is pretty damn good. They're just missing, I think, thumb ring. Aside from that, they all get all the upgrades and their unique technology. Bugs Vagar adds a +1 attack, but a rear-facing castle hasn't been seen. It has, and out come the Coustelier. What's the plural of Coustelier? Is there just an S added to it? Cousteliers? Not too sure. In any event, look at that charge attack, +20 with forging. It's +21. And so its first attack, and by the way, if you haven't seen the Coustelier in action, the charge attack animation is different than the other attack animation once the charge runs out. The charge attack, they poke with the glaive that they're carrying, and then once that charge attack has been spent, it's like an underhanded swipe when it goes down to that really shitty base of an 8. Oh, where are you going, gentlemen? Hera is now discovering the northern shore of the island. Has Mr. Yo explored the southern? No, he hasn't, but where is he going with these 5 Cousteliers in here? You know, if your opponent's army is... Actually, where the hell is Hera's army? Where are these 16 crossbowmen? Oh, they moved very far back. So he saw the Coustelier, or the Cousteliers, plural. He assumed they were going to come out the front, but oh, wait a second. This is exactly one of the many reasons you get this transport ship here, and I'm assuming he's going to pop out. Hera doesn't see it. Let's keep an eye on Hera's vision here, as a 5 medium shock cavalry units are about to appear out of the ether. And watch their first attack. It's a poke, you see? And then the underhanded swipe. 3 villagers in the blink of an eye. 4 villagers are dead. And it looks like Hera lost a knight over here as well. His monks will try to convert. We'll keep an eye on all that. But really, I want to see how many kills these guys can get. 5 already. Now, because it's such a powerful charge attack, it's not the Roman, it's not the Urumi, it's not single digits. 20 or 25 for the elite. It does take 40 seconds to recharge. Okay, now he's starting to lose them to this just massive crossbowmen. What are the upgrades like on these Cousteliers? Okay, 4 pierce armor. So basically knight level. So he's going to run away. He's going to run away. He's going to run away. Okay, thank God. Whoa, Mr. Yo. What is he doing? Ungarrison, ungarrison. No, when they all die, the horses die, the sailors die, the soldiers die. Why didn't he ungarrison? Why didn't he pop them out of that transport? Oh, okay. So right up until that point, that was a fantastic attack by Mr. Yo. I mean, look, he's got 9 villager kills on the whole at the moment. So a fantastic little side swipe. And that's, you know, the risk of this map. I'm assuming one of the reasons that you get this transport ship, in addition to helping you explore your islands better and maybe patrolling these shoals here to make sure your enemy doesn't try to pop into your base, your expansion. But man, oh man, was that a costly incursion for our Burgundian. 5 Cousteliers. I mean, they're not super duper expensive, but they're not super duper cheap either. I mean, 55 food, 55 gold is so whatever that is times 5, 275 food, 275 gold. Although to be fair, for getting a good number of villager kills, and another villager dies here, and this is going to be another dead villager. Oh, Hera mere seconds, maybe nanoseconds away from trapping these other Cousteliers and then using the crossbows to kill them as well. Fantastic there. Let's see what's going on in the center for the moment as more of these charge attack light medium not light cavalry, medium. I mean, they certainly do move like they're a light cavalry unit. They look very light on their feet, even though they are actually speed-wise pretty much the same as a knight, 1.49. Although this reverts to a 1.35. Why did that change to a 1.35 once it got converted? Looks like the Cousteliers down here have died. I'm a little confused. I thought, so Mr. obviously has husbandry. Hera obviously doesn't. I didn't realize that the movement speed. So take a look at the bottom, 1.49. It got converted 1.35. Okay. I've been told how the mechanics of conversion work many a time, which features stick with the unit, which features don't, but I am a little bit surprised that husbandry doesn't stick with the units. I'm a little bit surprised, not gonna lie. In any event, our Burgundian, having secured the forward position of his base, siege workshop. Really? You can't be attacked just because the tip of it is inside the murder hole radius? I thought it depended on where the center point was, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, obviously I'm wrong. And Mr. Yo moves in with a castle aim, but maybe it would have been better placed a little bit over here to get both town centers. In any event, we'll get one town center, which is really the important thing. And let's see how this army of shock units deals with these crossbows. Another one gets converted, and again it loses husbandry. Our Burgundian might want to start throwing in maybe some supporting units. Okay, he has 1 light cavalry unit. You got another villager. He's getting a good number of villager kills as Mr. Yo. Kill count on the whole is fairly similar, 34 to 36. But he does have 14 villager kills to 2. Okay, so brings in his army here. And you see when it's not a charge attack, it's an underhanded swipe. Their charge attack does not work on buildings. But now Mr. Yo's castle is going to get sandwiched here. Does he see? Oh, he doesn't. Now it's his turn to get shocked by what comes out of the darkness, out of the ether. And Hera is in Imperial. Mr. Yo does not have any resources unless he's already clicked up. Does not have even a 10th. I mean, a 10th, he needs 800 gold. He's got 40 gold. I like that he was so confident that he could hold the center position, that he was placing a town center here. Now realizing that, hey, he may not be able to hold, brings instead a mining camp along for the ride. Kusile tries to intercept, gets a bit of damage. And now angry at their inability to mine gold, the villagers take their frustration out on this town center, which is falling very rapidly. Out come 2 rams as well. Let's take a quick look at the center here. More Coustelier get converted. Okay, so I'm very curious to see the conversion count at the end of the day. Although, to be fair, Hera does just have 2 of them. Mr. Yo looks like he's amassed 31. Oh my goodness. Might want to get iron casting if he's going to stick around in the Castle Age. Okay, they're chasing. This is a good clump of cavalry, but there's a castle here for Hera to garrison. Now, he can't garrison all of these. There's 34, so only 14 will remain outside. He pops them in, pops them out to the south, pops them out to the south, to the northeast, then the northwest. Fantastic maneuvers out of our Viking. And all of a sudden, the Coustelier count gets cut in half. in exchange for, I'm assuming, just a few crossbows. I actually don't see any blue bodies on the dance floor here at all, except here on the left side. Ouch. That was a very costly engagement for Mr. Yo, who has lost his mining camp, has managed actually to deny a castle. I see some blood here as well. So more villager kills for him. He's killed 30 villagers to the 4 of his opponent. Will he be able... There we go. Now, the cool thing about the Coustelier, unlike other units like the, for example, the Latus, who has the ignoring of the armor, or I guess just the ignoring armor feature, usually when you ignore armor, it doesn't apply to siege. But because the Coustelier... Oh my goodness. Really? Because the Coustelier, it's not a like a special duper super duper attack. It gets just added to your regular attack. It does in fact apply to all the units. So siege included do get affected by that 20 extra attack. Whereas, for example, the Lechai or the... when I think of the composite bowman, they do not affect... I mean, they are affected by siege armor, if that makes any sense. What I'm trying to say is that because the attack here is added, it's an 8 plus 21. It counts as an overall attack as opposed to any kind of bonus damage. I think I'm explaining that properly. I may not be explaining that properly. In any event, really? Mr. Yo taps out after 26 minutes? I mean, looking at the army count, he's down a third. Or he's down 2/3. He's got a third of the army of his opponent. He's also down 22 villagers. That engagement here, I want to see that again. That was absolutely disastrous for Mr. Yo. So let's see what we're working with here. There's 27 Cousteliers. Forget the Treb. Forget the monks. 27 Cousteliers, 32 crossbows. And let's see how it all plays out. Okay. Immediately gets a conversion. This is a lot of Cousteliers that are already dead here. And actually, okay, so there are a few dead blue bodies on the dance floor. Hera garrisons 19, 20. Now let's play it in slow motion. I want to see how we pop them out. A few pop out up here. They start firing. These guys continue walking. Then another group pops out up here. While at the same time, this group pops into the castle. So they pop in, they pop out on the top left. Now the Cousteliers have no clue what the hell to do. Do we go after this one? Do we go after this one? And instead of committing to one or the other or both, Monsieur moves like he's going to commit. And then Hera baits him even more. As he's on the retreat, Hera pops out a couple of crossbows here, hoping that Monsieur is going to engage into them, which will allow his castle and his other crossbows, which outside of the castle are 23 crossbows, which will allow them to fire. But Monsieur does not take the bait, and he just continues running away. What a disastrous. From 27 Cousteliers, 9 are left. 18 dead red units. Okay, I can kind of see why the GG came about. And Monsieur really, despite being the first, I think, to explore his adjacent island, even though, I mean, technically they're both adjacent islands to both players. He went for the north one, Hera went for the south one. Even though he was the first to send those 2 spearmen over, it hasn't really conquered that island quite yet. Whereas Hera already has, well, had a town center here. And as I said, this castle probably would have been better placed over here to lay both. But now there's still 2 town centers. And Monsieur just does not have the economy that he needs. And having lost his entire army right now is just absolutely... I mean, these players are still... they're still human beings. They still have feelings and emotions, and they still really feel the loss of their entire army. Not to mention the really cool maneuvers here to the rear in the beginning of the game, where Mr. Yo shoved in those 5 Cousteliers. I think he got 9 villager kills, if I'm not mistaken, and then inexplicably let them drown in the river. Like, who was it? Barbarossa campaign, where he goes into the river to have a bit of water, and then he drowns because the dummy's wearing his armor. Well, that kind of happened here as well. So fun moves out of both players. I love the doubling down on the Coustelier. I'm a little bit surprised that these crossbows were able to take them on so damn well. although they are at a +4. So one more upgrade missing to get them to their maximum +5 with Boggs Vagar. And Mysterio, by the way, is also still in Castle Age, so he has no way really to contest these castles. His castle is under attack. So now the picture is becoming a little bit more clear. At first, my confusion was, 26 minutes? You still have a castle, 2 castles. You still have a decent army. 12 Cousteliers are nothing to be scoffed at when their first attack is a 29. But at the end of the day, the economy is not there. The age is 1 behind, and the army count is 1/3 of his opponent. PKPM, though, 5 minutes before the end of the game. PKPM at the beginning of the game. I wonder if that corresponds. That's 7:57. If I remember, I'll go back and see if that corresponds to when Mysterio shoved those Cousteliers to the back of his base. Relics, Mysterio, of course, in all of this, manages to take 1 more relic, but unfortunately, the economies are not too terrible. This is less than 20% difference, 15 to 20%, a bit more wood, a bit more food, a lot more gold, and stone is basically identical. So really, it's the gold count, which is funny for the Vikings because they're just going crossbowmen, which technically do cost almost as much gold as a Coustelier, right? Okay. Food for thought. 5 conversions is what our Viking had at the end of the day. So about 5%, 5.5% of the Burgundian army. That's a bit sour. Both players destroying an equal amount of buildings. And at the end of the day, let's look at the kill count. 82 to 68, and Mysterio killed so many villagers, but his opponent 1, 2, 3, 4 town centers. And when you kill the Viking villager, it's not quite as painful in the feudal and in the castle age as other civilizations, because again, they come with wheelbarrow and handcart automatic, free of charge. And so if you need to always have more villagers basically than the Viking is the bottom line, unless you immediately research those upgrades. And even then, you're just a few minutes behind in gathering and whatnot, which is not the end of the world, but you generally tend to want to have a bit more of an economy than the Vikings in the feudal and castle age, just because they get those 2 upgrades for free. And let's see at the end of the day, where that PKPM for Hera was. 7:57. So, oh, no, never mind. Nowhere close to that. Okay. My sense of time is so messed up. He's not even, other players even in Castle Age. Okay, so I'm not too sure why his PKPM is here right now. Maybe he's microing his army in the front while bringing the villager forward past this unclickable well and these unclickable barrels of, I'm assuming, well water or ale or something. But in any event, what a fun game. Mysterio going full on meme build with the Cousteliers, Hera going full on counter crossbows, and ultimately just a few bad engagements. Losing the transport full of units here was not great, even though, to be fair, they did a good amount of damage. They scared Hera a little bit. They kind of stopped that frontal attack for a little while, but that attack in front of that castle was just way too much this charge. And now I see there's been another one here at the 26-minute mark where Mysterio just loses even more. This is when he tried to snipe that Treb. I guess he did ultimately snipe it, but just losing Coustelier after Coustelier, while these archers with their little HP, 35 HP, can pop into the castle and heal fairly quickly. So Mysterio just not able to keep up, and he can see a few steps ahead, realizing that he's down in economy, he's down in army count, and he's down against Hera in both of those things. And oh, by the way, has no ability to get any kind of Trebs out. I said he had 2 castles. I forgot about the one here to the rear of his base. He has 3 castles, but no Trebs because he's in Castle Age, and he lives to fight another day. And it is Hera, our Viking in blue, who continues Mysterio's losing streak against the Vikings, takes the W, but GG in a short but very fun action-packed game to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.